everybody, Kit here. Welcome back to another crochet vlog. This is the third attempt at starting this video because my dogs are awful. But I think I got Chewy settled down now. He just wanted to sleep somewhere and he can't get on my bed and he doesn't know how to say no, and he communicates his feelings by barking a lot. However, now Watson is growling because he's under the covers and he's grumpy because he has to share the bed. Welcome back to my life. Joking, slightly. Nobody wants to see this. Anyway. Yeah, welcome back to Lost in Time. This is chapter 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, this is chapter 13, apparently. Okay. Yeah. So, previously, I don't remember. Right. School sucks, I believe is what this was. Oh, yes, and then there was the whole thing with the brooch. The horrid herbology professor, Professor Paris, has a brooch that called to Eli in the middle of class and kind of got labeled as a troublemaker because she just, well, technically she zoned out. Because, well, her mind went, her body did not. It might have been better if her body did, but also could have been very worse. So yeah, school sucks mostly. But yeah, so we are on chapter 13, and I don't know if we're gonna get through all of it this time, but we will do our best. And we are on the tail end finale of the blanket I've been working on for the last 2 weeks / 2 episodes. If it's for my dad's blanket, it's my dad's blanket, and it is his birthday is on the 23rd, so I think that's a Thursday. I think. Yes, maybe. I don't know. It's this week. I have, 3 days, and we have a showing on Wednesday, and it's Monday night, so it's gonna go great. I am tired. Anyway, so let me get you a drink. And if I sound a little out of it and tired, it has been an extremely hectic weekend. Unfortunately, a busy Monday, and it's going to be busy right up until probably the people leave on Wednesdays. Yeah. And I also had 2 alcoholic drinks at dinner because we went out to eat, which was very fun. But also slight sugar high and, alcohol. So, yeah, I'm coming down from that. So if I don't sound like I'm speaking English, I apologize. This is not a good time to do this. Alrighty, here we go. Chapter 13, the chaos chapter, or at least me chaotically reading it. Painful Confessions. Saturday, August 22nd. When I opened my eyes Saturday morning, waking up to my annoying alarm, I didn't want to get up. I knew what today was, and I wasn't ready. I doubted I ever would be ready. That letter hadn't left my mind once the entire week. How to tell Pops and how to get the brooch. I wasn't any closer in either of those endeavors, and now I was out of time. Warily, I turned off the alarm and stumbled to the bathroom. Class started at 7. I shouldn't be late. I took a little longer than usual in the shower, staring blankly at the seashell. Ooh. Uh-oh. I just sneezed wonderfully twice. Oh dear. Oh dear. Uh-oh. Okay. Could we not sneeze anymore? Allergies suck. Something's in the air. Okay. I think we're good. I will do my best to get to the mute button. Oh my gosh. No. Okay. I'm okay. I took a little longer than usual in the shower, staring blankly at the seashell tiled floor as the water beat down on me. They say showers are great for thought and rejuvenating tired bones. They lied. Sighing heavily, I stepped out of the shower, wrapping the towel tightly around myself as I walked back into my room, still drawing blanks as to even what to say to Pops. How do you tell someone their beloved relative is dead? I went to my dresser, not bothering to look in the mirror before rooting around for something to wear, preferably activewear. Since I didn't look in the mirror, Dim scared the heck out of me as he spoke up, lounging on my unmade bed. Oh my god, Dimitri, stop being a creeper! Yeah, it's just like creeper behavior. I don't know. Maybe. I see like a little bit of creeper, but on the other hand, like more of annoying teenage boy. So yeah. Do I even want to know what's with the egg and the mice? Oh, and the smell, of course. I shrieked, throwing the shirt and underwear I had in my hand up in the air. Whirling around, I glared at him, attempting to cover myself up even more. Having the towel around her, yeah. What the crap? Do you always just waltz into girls' rooms unannounced? I screeched, narrowing my eyes at him as he laughed heartily, looking very much at home and too dang cheerful for 6:24 in the morning. Oh, that sounds like an awful time. Ugh. I don't know, your first girl considered doing it too. Do you always leave the door unlocked? He questioned, eyes sparking with mischief. I managed to stay upright and kneel at the same time, cheeks turning bright red as I snatched up my fallen clothing. Get out! I yelled, pointing at the door. Nope. Yes! Nope. I'm to make sure you show up to class this time. He pushed himself off my bed, wandering over to look at my Griffin books. Growling, I muttered obscene words under my breath as I stalked to the bathroom. Okay, maybe not so much creepy then. Just exceptionally annoying. Changing quickly, I hoped he was gone by the time I threw on my bra and underwear. Looking at the t-shirt I grabbed, shrouding. Shrouding? What? Shrouding. Shrowning. Frowning and something of the SH. Oh gosh. Shrugging and frowning. Shrowning. Oh my god. I creaked the door open a little, noting Dim was in a man's tank and gym shorts. My shirt wouldn't do it. Screw it. I'm in my room, for heaven's sakes. So I waltzed back to my dresser, put the shirt away, and ignoring Dim's gaze on my bare back, because she's in a bra and underwear, I focused on choosing an outfit for my closet. Don't jump. Don't say a word. Ignore him. I repeated over and over as I felt him come closer to me, standing somewhere behind me. My hands shook slightly as I chose a red workout t-shirt and a matching set of capris. Okay. So, reading this as an adult now, yeah, 100% comfy. Well, not is this realistic? I don't know. I think this was a big trope when I wrote this in, like, the teenager thing, because we all know teenagers do stupid stuff, so maybe it is realistic. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this, if I change it or if I don't. I might have elements of it, but not the entire thing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Okay. My hand shook slightly as I chose a red workout t-shirt and a matching set of capris. Black and green looks better on you. I froze as Dim's voice whispered in my ear, and all of a sudden I felt his presence directly behind me, every nerve on alert. What? Just, what? No, Flustered, I put the red outfit back and nearly jumped out of my skin as his hand shot out and grasped my left arm. His fingers icy cold against my feverish skin. I swallowed as goosebumps rose on my arm, his fingertips slowly tracing the smooth skin. That wound healed a long time ago, I whispered, slightly out of breath. I see that, he murmured. Oh my gosh. Sorry. A note of sadness wavering. Unspoken words screamed volumes between us, and the tension rose. I didn't move, hardly breathing. He seemed to be debating with himself. Slowly, I turned my head to look up at him, our eyes meeting softly. He was conflicted, too many emotions for me to read. His eyes always looked like a storm, a hurricane that was chained, ready to destroy but unable to. Yo, Dimitri, get your butt out here. We haven't got all day. Colonel Pottle... Pottle? So we have Shrouning and we have Pottle. Alright. That's Colonel Potter will have our heads if we're late again. We both blinked and jerked away from each other, coughing a bit. Yeah. I'm just gonna, hurry up, he stuttered, backing out of my room. Sucking my bottom lip, I found my hands shaking. Shaking my head, I grabbed the outfit he had suggested, lime green tank and black and green shorts. I hurriedly threw it on and braided my wet hair, one thought running through my shaken mind. What was that? Yes, that's what the author would like to know, too. War Games. Such an ominous name. The unofficial and better put name for it, the fiery world down under, i.e. hell. But I was 17 and didn't curse. Boring times? Better times? I don't know. Dang, I keep fit and love to run and go to the gym when I can, which I don't do any of those things. But this was so much more exercise than I ever wanted to do. And I got to do it every Saturday morning for the foreseeable future. Joy. Blech. 5 miles of jogging for warm up? Ew. Then a horrible obstacle course with ropes, hurdles, and an unfathomably tall climbing wall and jumping platforms. Gee, this reminds me of the Sims 2 military thingy. Y'all remember that career object? I don't know if anybody here actually played Sims 2. I forget who this audience is potentially. Never mind. Then we got to run to different stations to do so many crunches, push-ups, jumping jacks, etc. Everyone was miserable. Who was everyone? Everyone! If you were 10 or older, you were out in the football field with the rest of us. It was crowded, stunk of sweat, and was loud. Gross, and gross. Everyone was complaining. Everyone. There weren't enough trash cans, so people were throwing up on the perfectly manicured grass. Ew! I was glad I hadn't had time for breakfast. I think the retching alone would have been enough to upchuck my stomach contents. The teacher, Colonel Potter... I wanted to say Patel. Potter ran us like a well-oiled German train schedule. We had to be done with this at a certain time, and there within a few minutes of this. Oh, yeah, we had to be done with this at a certain time, and there within a few minutes of this, and it went on and on. We finally got a break an hour and a half in. I think we were all done at this point, lying comatose on the ground. Sweat poured off of us. The morning sun and breeze did nothing, doing nothing to help. Colonel Potter... I keep doing it. Colonel Potter just kept walking around, smoking a cigar, disgruntled expression permanently etched into his aged face. He had been barking at the slackers all day, and as I stumbled over to the water cooler, ignoring my spasming mind... This episode might be cut short because I can't talk. Spasming muscles. I noticed he was even harder on the shy jock from my herbology class. He certainly didn't look like a jock now, though. His baggy t-shirt was soaked with sweat and clung to his back, and as soon as Colonel Potter quit yelling at him and walked away, some of the school sports guys pantsed him right there on the bleachers, pushing and shoving him around, leaving him to run in his boxers. Pouring my leftover water on my head, I ran over to a deserted shady corner, half hidden by the bleachers, and concentrated. Simon loved to work out after work sometimes, and always kept a gym bag in the broom closet. No one was supposed to know about it, like it would tarnish his rep by hefting weights above his head. He and that guy looked the same size. I closed my eyes, breathing through my mouth as I thought hard about that closet, picturing every detail of it, from the cobwebs in the corner, the cleaning supplies on the shelf within easy reach, and the boxes littered by the other corner, I guess, conveniently hiding the black mesh gym bag that was Simon Vincent's. My hands burned with the cool magic as a rift found me and enveloped my hand, creating a bag-sized rift to my chosen location. It was so much harder to create a rift than to find one, requiring a lot more effort, concentration, and energy. Only the oldest and strongest travelers can make one large enough to transport a person, but I could, with great difficulty, make one just big enough for my purpose. My outstretched fingers grasped the straps, and I quickly yanked it to my side, arms burning with the simple effort of lifting the heavy bag. The rift made an audible pop as it dissolved, and I stumbled into the hole behind me, coughing as a heavy nosebleed began. My vision swam, and it took me a good minute or 3 to balance on 2 feet and begin walking normally. Okay. My herbology classmate was where I had last seen him, tears streaming down his face as he did his best to hide his boxers from the rest of the laughing passerby. Anger sizzled in my veins, but I was too tired to do anything more than shoot them a nasty look. I plopped down beside him and rooted through the bag, noting with satisfaction that Simon had an emergency first aid kit, complete with a fresh roll of gauze. I threw some gym shorts at him and ripped off some gauze, holding my head back as he looked at me, stunned. Hurriedly, he threw the shorts on before Colonel Potter, I said it right that time, yay, came back over announcing it was time to sweat again. Only this time it was time for a cross-country through some swampy woods. I hate war games. I would hate this. I wouldn't show up. I'd drop out. Let's be honest. Would anyone show up for this? Willingly? Comment below if you would do this willingly. I wouldn't. I threw the bloody gauze on the ground, shoved some new gauze up my nose, and tucked the rest of the roll into my sports bra, heaving the now zipped-up gym bag under the bleacher row. Eli! On the ground? Girl! Find a trash can, although it is teeming with vomit. I just throw it in the bag and deal with it later. I wouldn't litter! Together, he and I stood up, and for the next round of torture, I had a running buddy. It was worse than before, since I hadn't eaten breakfast and had done a rather difficult spell, which the running was making it harder, but somehow I got through it. Head pounding and I swimming. Gasping for air and covered in mud, we stumbled back to the bleachers, ignoring our crying classmates. We were all exhausted. I grabbed Simon's stolen gym bag and found the emergency stash of water, guzzling that down. My classmate had his backpack in his shaking lap, and he was doing the same as I was. I lay back on the bleachers, just trying to catch my breath, as I felt someone tap my shoulder. I looked over and blinked several times to get rid of the dizziness. A yellow folder with a name in Sharpie finally came into vision, and I finally learned my classmate's name. Travis Stanley. Ooh, that was a good name, me. I nodded once, and it took me a minute to find my raspy voice. Eli Bishop. Nice to meet you. Coughing, I took another swig of water, watching as our fellow classmates shakily stumbled off the field until only a few stragglers, the stench of sweat, and steaming piles of vomit remained. Gross! If this is what I had to look forward to every Saturday morning, you could count me out. Oh, absolutely. Oh, sorry, did I just hit the mic? Yikes. Sorry. I want no part of this ever again. But, I reasoned with myself as I stood up stretching, I made a new friend. That's worth it, right? I wasn't quite sure as I stumbled back to my room, Simon's gym bag on my shoulder, waving goodbye to Travis, my new friend. Excuse me. It took a lot longer to get back to the dorm than it had to get to class. That roll of gauze almost gone as I shoved more up my sore nose, hissing in relief as I neared the final steps of the stairs. The solid oak door, a sight for sore eyes. So very close to food, a shower, and my bed. Also my phone, because I had decided to not take it this morning. I missed my music. However, as soon as I threw open the door, I almost wanted to go back to the football field. Oh, that's awful. Because milling around the foyer entrance was the parents. Ugh. That is a nightmare. I think by this point in this book, just that sentence alone invokes fear. Which is kind of what I meant. Caroline, my mother, Trevor, the Deeds, the Montagnais, the Walkers, all of them. Was it bad I didn't know most of their names? Nor did they have my number still. They all stared in disgust at my sweaty, bloodied appearance. Biting my cheek, I heaved a sigh and stepped in, ignoring how they all backed up to get away from me in a hurry. I must have smelled real bad or something. It was no trouble to get to my room, and soon I was taking my second shower of the day. Only when the water ran clear for more than 2 minutes did I get out, towel off, and change to the casual tank top and knee-length yoga capris that I had brought with me to the bathroom. I wasn't ready to face another bedroom invasion, even if I had locked my door upon returning. I ran a brush through my hair and left it to air dry as I steeled myself to face whatever music may be waiting for me out with the adults. I really need to figure out something else to call them other than the adults. I snatched my phone from my nightstand before walking stiffly to the kitchen. Unsurprised to find Caroline inspecting our food supplies in the middle of making lunch for us. I could hear the various families in the bedrooms or out on the balcony with their respective children, probably interrogating them about their studies in the brilliant sunshine. Wonder how that's conversation's going. Yeah, probably not well. Okay. Madeline, Ariana, Trevor, and Victor were seated at the clean table, all smiles as Mad and Victor told them about the wonderful adventure. This has been for them. I snorted quietly. It's been only a few weeks of grumbling and homework and classes and studying. Oh, and cleaning. Like, that's an adventure? Caroline was humming to herself as she usually did, whipping up a nice salad with seasoned chicken for us as I opened the fridge looking for the grapes we had stocked. I wasn't going to wait for salad. I was too hungry. So I snatched them up and hopped on a bar stool, feeling the awkward tension in the room. And 3, 2, 1. So, Eliana, how are your grades going? Ariana asked, the glint in her eye contradicting her innocently sweet tone. Victor frowned a little, looking down at his homework assignment as Madeline snickered behind her mother. I chewed on my grape as I regarded her coolly. Fine. Swallowing, I popped another grape in my mouth. We had a stare down going, and I was fairly certain I was going to win. She narrowed her eyes at my tone slightly and pressed further. And your... She swallowed hard, then bit out the word. Job? I snorted slightly, speaking with a grape in my mouth. Good. I have time for both my job and my studies. It was her turn to snort derisively. Eliana, it is a big responsibility to do well at this school. If your studies are fine and your job is good, you must not be paying enough attention to your studies. It would reflect poorly on my family and our coven if you don't do well. Your little job isn't worth our meticulous reputation. Somebody shut this lady up, please, she finished, puffing her chest out like she had won our little argument. I continued chewing on my grapes, anger and frustration seeping into my veins like ice as she said, my family and our coven. It was true. I was a part of her perfect family image. It was clear from her past actions that I would never be. She didn't consider me her daughter. I had accepted it. It didn't mean it hurt any less. But whether or not she or I liked it, I was a part of this coven. I was the leader, not her. I was the heir, not her, Madeline. And suddenly, I wondered how badly that must be digging at her. That her perfect daughter wasn't chosen, and she herself skipped over. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting. Her portrait had been hanging in the basement. The magic had skipped a generation. And instead of her chosen daughter, it was a mistake from her past holding the reins. I clenched my jaw at the anger clawing inside of me, threatening to overtake my control. Faintly, I heard the front door open and close. I barely noticed that Carolyn had paused her lunch preparations and was watching the two of us with concern. I barely noticed anything except for the pounding of my head, the rage building. Your family. Don't you mean just you? Because no one really cares about the LaFaux reputation, do they? Only you. Is that why you never showed up to meet me? You never wanted to claim your love child of a daughter? An illegitimate child? Now that would tarnish your rep, right? You never cared. As for your coven, well, I'm sorry, but it must burn that I was chosen instead of your favorite daughter. I bet you were never afraid to be seen in public with her. And that little job of mine is important to me. I am not about to give it up for anything. Not for my grades, not for your reputation, and certainly not you. Those people at my job give more of a crap about me than anyone here. They have been there for me when no one here was. I would die for them. They are my true family, not you. I glared at her, breathing harshly as she flinched with each sentence. I guess you're not the only one disappointed with family, huh, mother? Don't cry, Eli. Dang it, do not give her the satisfaction of seeing you cry. Behind me, Simon cleared his throat. Oh, shoot, Simon's here. Oh, God. Oh, and Roger. Wait, what? Oh, God. And Rosa. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, God. I forgot about this part. Behind me, Simon cleared his throat, and I leapt off the bar stool and turned around, struggling not to sniffle and break down. Face set in a cold look, Simon looked past me, jaw clenched at my mother. Behind him, Roger was trembling with the seething anger that was written on his face, clearly dying to say something. And Rosa, she took one look at me, a motherly look of love and sympathy on her face, and she spoke up. Eli, we need to go. Your grandpa will be back soon, so... My heart jumped into my throat, and I froze. What? No, I'm not ready. Horrified, I looked down and all but fled to my room, Rosa following after me hurriedly. I dodged Dim and his family, all three of them with intensely uncomfortable looks on their faces as the tears began streaming down my face. Rosa found me shaking in my closet, trying futilely to decide what to wear. I wasn't ready. I should have skipped class, tried to figure out what to say, what to wear, hidden or gone somewhere, anywhere, or never woken up this morning. Rosa took me by the shoulders and pushed me gently on the bed before rushing off into my bathroom, the sink running as I finally had that meltdown I was trying to keep in. Tears fell down my cheeks, splattering all over my shirt as I sobbed hysterically, face down on my bed. Why did she hate me so much? What did I ever do to her to deserve this? Why couldn't she have just loved me like mothers are supposed to? I just hit the mic again. Hopefully it didn't do anything. I felt Rosa's presence as she sat down on the edge of the bed, stroking my slightly damp wavy hair gently. Oh, Eli. Her voice cracked and she gently pushed me over until I was looking at her. She took a wet washcloth to my face, speaking soothing words the entire time, and wiped my tears away, my face all red and blotchy now. I sniffled and slowly sat up. Why does she hate me so much, Rosa? My voice broke at the end, and a few more tears fell away. Sighing softly, she scooted closer, the washcloth discarded, and put her arms around me, pulling me softly to her chest, stroking my hair as I heard. Oh, Eli, I wish I knew. I wish I could say something. Anything. But I don't know what to say. I hate that she's done this to you." She cried with me, kissing the top of my head. I cried a little more at her words, wishing that would just know why. You know when that god-awful lady from social services, that Beatrice, first told Carter and Michael they had to share custody of you with Ariana? Carter broke down. Your daddy, he cried that day. That was the first time I've ever seen him cry before. Michael, he stood up and he told that woman under no uncertain circumstances that no way in heck that was happening. Over his dead body. You were not going to be spending any time over at Ariana's house because you couldn't miss s'mores night at the beach. She chuckled slightly and I smiled a little bit, sniffling. You weren't going to spend the night at your mother's house because you had to go camping with your pops. The bishops don't share well, he told her. It took 3 hours of arguing and yelling until they all agreed that you would spend one day with your mother somewhere in public, as long as you had a social worker with you. I've never seen Michael so angry. One day. Just one day, and he didn't want to share you. Not his precious little tiger. We laughed a bit together. She paused, memories in her eyes as I slowly untangled from her embrace. She always knew how to make me feel better. As soon as she had left all of us, Eileen, Simon, Roger, and I, we had split, not wanting to be found eavesdropping. Michael and Carter came immediately to my office and asked all of us to go with you that day. They didn't want you to be there by yourself with just some stranger. Carter, he was always 2 tables away in disguise. He wasn't allowed to be near, not when it wasn't his day, you know. Hogswash. Your daddy, he never let you out of his sight, she scoffed, smiling. That social worker had no idea who she was messing with. Michael, he never went back, not after that first day. He couldn't bear to see you like that, all hopeful that your mother never showed. He always said it wouldn't do you any good to visit him in prison. That's how angry he would get. So they asked us. They asked us that day if we would be there at the mall in support. You never knew it, but Eileen and I, we were always shopping nearby. Simon was always working somewhere close to you, and Carter and Roger always fed those ducks in that dang pond every time. We were all there, waiting to step in case anything went wrong. We were all there. Every time she never showed up. She smiled sadly at me, and my bottom lip quivered as I sniffled again, another stray tear falling solemnly. She wiped it away and put her finger under my chin, pulling my face up so I could look at her. Don't cry over her, honey. She's not worth your tears. She may have thrown you away, but you will never know the strong young woman you have grown up to be. She chose not to be part of your life, and that's too bad. She'll never get to see you the way I did. She'll never get to experience your first words or your first diving lessons. She'll never know that you hate chocolate but love strawberries or that you love history. She'll never get to cherish your baby pictures or embarrass your future husband with stories from your childhood. She'll never get to give you away at your wedding. She threw that all away, Eli, for her own selfish reasons. And she will always regret that. Because you are an amazing person, Eli. You're beautiful, witty, intelligent, an extremely hard worker, and you always stand up for your friends and fight for what you believe in. You're an amazing traveler, and you are meant for greater things than she herself can ever dream. It's not you who is missing out, Eli. It's her. You don't need her, Eli. Not when you have us, and we couldn't be any luckier or proud of you. Sniffing, I nodded numbly. Tears were falling again, but this time I was crying for a whole other reason. Sobbing, I hugged her, and I felt her tears on my shoulder. We cried for my father and the cherished memories. Because she was right. I didn't need my mother. I had. We're going to say I had. I had Rosa and Eileen and Simon and Roger, my dad and Pops. I was so lucky. I wouldn't give that up for anything. We pulled away and smiled at each other. She patted my cheek and pulled me up to my feet with her to stand. Alright, now let's get you dressed and go pick up Michael, alright? I really need to give him an ear beating for being away for so long. I laughed, and together we rushed to my closet. A few minutes later, I was all dolled up in a pretty sky blue skirt and white blouse, my hair in its natural brown waves, my eyes bright and mysterious once more. Together we exited my room, and I locked it firmly behind us. With my head held high, we walked back to the kitchen, and I noticed how Simon and Roger both looked extremely sad and angry, staring at my mother, who looked embarrassed and couldn't meet anyone's harsh gaze. Dim's eyes found mine instantly, and I found nothing but sorrow, comfort, and a blazing anger that took my breath away. Caroline had a salad all fixed for me, and one for each of my companions, packed away in to-go containers and ready for us to take. She had tear streaks down her face and hidden emotions in her eyes. Wordlessly, I thanked her with a small smile that I didn't much feel, and took the containers before calmly walking out the dorm, my true family following me. Dang it, I keep hitting the mic. I know that we're kind of about the time where I normally stop, but there's, I think, only like 3 or 4 pages, so we're just gonna knock it out. We ended up at the office. I was fidgeting, uncomfortable. I still had no idea what I was going to say to Pops. I had thought it over and over and over again this past week, but it never came out right. Rosa was busy prepping tea and putting the last touches on our cake in the kitchen, and I was hiding in my office, curled up in the corner on the floor. Roger and Simon were off at the Foxtrot department. There were only 2 organizations you could be sponsored by for top-secret classified operations, by a separate court/kingdom or the Foxtrot department. That wasn't its real name. It actually wasn't listed on the official department's list of GOMA because it was that classified. Those who knew of it simply called it the Foxtrot department. That was whom my grandfather was sponsored by this go-round. The time before that had been the Traveler's Court. I hugged my knees closer to my chest, checking the time on my iPhone every few seconds. 2:24. 6 minutes to go. Simon had said his debriefing should be done with by 2:30, then they would be here. I had 6 minutes to figure out how to tell my Pops how his son had died. 6 minutes to figure out how to tell him that we no longer had a home. 6 minutes to decide how to tell him that everything has changed. I felt the beginnings of a panic attack coming, and I suppressed it, groaning as I rubbed my temples. I can't do this. He's going to hate me for not finding a way to get word to him. He won't want anything to do with me. I couldn't save Daddy, his son. I was too weak. The treacherous voice inside my head taunted me over and over, and it was all I could do to remind myself that I had only been 15. I couldn't do anything against demons or prevent him from getting sucked into that greater demon rift. He had just gone for more soda for my party and never came back. If I hadn't had that party, no, it would have found him regardless, Eli. Come on, knock this off. I told myself, sternly checking the clock again. 2:26. 4 minutes to go. I felt like screaming, but I couldn't get anything past the lump in my throat that wouldn't move no matter how many times I swallowed. Moaning, I closed my eyes and rested my head on my knees, wishing the floor would just swallow me whole. My phone pinged with a text message. Blowing out of breath, I unlocked my phone to see who was bothering me at such an important moment in my life. I bit my lip, blinking at the name. Unknown number. Hey, Leah, it's Dim. How did you get my number? I hacked your phone this morning when you were in the shower. You know you should really put a better passcode on your phone. That little piece of... Dang it. I don't really know what to say. If the guys saw this, they would be calling me a... Well, they would say I'm short a few... Never mind. About your mom... Don't go there. Please don't go there. She's a witch with a capital B. You know that, right? I had no idea. I don't think any of us did. But you're a part of this coven, Leah. You are the heir. You proved it that night of the trial. And even if you're not part of the coven or you don't think you are, you're part of mine. So, yeah. My dad isn't shut up about how much of a bewitch Ari is, even if he seems like a hard a-hole. He's really big into family and loyalty, and you've shown that even if she hasn't. Yeah. Also, you might want to save this number, because now I have yours. I bit my lip, shocked. That was actually really nice. His friends wouldn't be wrong to think he's a softie. I smile curved on my lips as I read the message again, and a warm feeling spread through me. Eli. Your friends will be right, but what do they know? After all, they wear Power Ranger and SpongeBob boxers. Power Ranger and SpongeBob boxers. I can't talk. I don't want to talk about her. While he was replying, I quickly saved his contact info to my phone, noting I had 2 minutes left, but I wasn't feeling panicked anymore. Strange. Dim the Softie. Wait, what? Who? You have to tell me, Leah, please. I will so owe you. And just what will you give me for this valuable blackmail? Oh, well, wink emoji, I know this great Chinese food place. Is the stone cold Morpheus Hypnos Dimitri Walker asking little old me on a date? I paused, staring at the message before hitting send. Was he? My heart sped up as I saw the ... as he replied. I'm not if you call me that again. Fine, Dimitri. Nope, you could only call me Dim, but all your friends get to call you Dimitri. Dimwit? All of my friends. They aren't you, Leah. No. They aren't you, Leah. I stared dumbly at that line. What did that mean? Your manhood can't take being called Dimwit? And I thought your ego was bigger than that. Don't you have a grandfather to pick up? Go rack on his ego. Mine is very adequately sized, thank you very much. TMI? 2:30. It's time. Ah, crap. And I am hiding in my office. Why? I don't know how to tell him. Am I really going to tell him? I don't know how to tell him that his son died. I stared at the instant message, breath caught in my throat. My thumb wavered over the send button. ... I stared as Dim replied. You don't have to tell me heck, how do girls do this? I am sure whatever it is, he's your grandpa. It will be alright. Thanks, Dim. I needed to hear that. I deleted the other message and sent that one instead. It was too soon, even if it was common knowledge. But his dad hadn't just died. He'd been murdered. My thoughts were interrupted as Rosa knocked on my shut office door. Eli, it's time. Michael is almost here. I can sense them walking down here now, she called softly before scurrying away. Sighing heavily, I stood and stretched. I was nervous, excited, so excited I could barely breathe. I hadn't seen Pops in 2 years. How much had he changed? But for all my excitement, I couldn't move. The others were going to be respectful and let me break the news, but I didn't want to. I didn't think I could. I bit my lip and looked down at the text message again. I'm sure whatever it is, he's your grandpa. It will be alright. It will be alright. Dim, you better be right. And all of a sudden I could move again. I walked down the hall to the reception area where Rosa had set up a lovely table with delectable treats with streamers and balloons. We didn't get any gifts because Pops had told us all time and time again that coming back from a war wasn't a time for gift giving. It was a time for remembering all the lives given. He said it was the same thing for classified missions. I stood rooted to my spot, eyes stuck on the simple, dark wooden door, the only thing separating me from my Pops, from the truth, from everything. I could barely breathe as the doorknob turned. It swung open and there he was, freshly shaved because scruffy army men disgraced the uniform. His thick hair, grayer than I remembered, was perfectly styled and combed over. Sparkling sky blue eyes filled with mischief and laughter framed with a few more wrinkles than 2 years ago. He always called them his laughing lines because he never worried. Complete with his kind smile and tan skin, he looked almost exactly as I remembered him. Hey, Tiger, you've gotten taller. His gruff voice sparked my movement because that was all it took for me to run to him and be embraced in a huge hug. Firm, warm hug. Tears starting to spill as I realized it felt like home. Like I was finally home. I heard sniffs and I realized he was crying too. So it was okay that 1 or 2 or more tears fell down my cheeks. Really. After what felt like no time at all, he pulled back and looked around. Where's Carter? Everyone stopped hooting, clapping, and in Rosa's case, crying. The happy, joyful atmosphere died, leaving sorrow and tension in its place. As if sensing the bad news coming, Pops looked at all of us, concern etched on his face, and I tugged him gently over to the chairs, and he sat down after I pushed him down a little. Biting my lip until it started to threaten to bleed, I sat down on the edge of the coffee table in front of him, unsure of what to say. I'm sure whatever it is, he's your grandpa. And it'll be alright. It wasn't that long after you left, I think about 2 weeks, on my 15th birthday. We threw the regular party, but we didn't go to the store before, so we were short a few things. You always said to make sure your lists are in order, but we never listened. The party was in full swing. I'd just blown out the candles, opened my presents, and we were out of soda. Dad, I stopped a moment, tears threatening to choke me. He kissed me on the forehead, kissed me on the head, said he was going to be right back. I'm just heading out to the corner shop. See you later, be back in a jiff. Only he wasn't. He never came back, Pops. Tears streamed down my cheeks, and I looked him earnestly in the eyes. Watching the news, the suspicions hit him like a train. A greater demon rift came, and I felt it. I felt the connection our family to others snap a few hours later. A week later, I woke up in the hospital, that social worker above me. Simon, Rosa, all of them were outside in the waiting room. I was in critical condition. Family only, they said. Mother was there, waiting. They wouldn't let Simon have custody, not when there was a living blood relative and they couldn't find you. You were on mission, couldn't be found, they said. So I've been living with the LeVeaus ever since. I kept my job, kept up my studies, and graduated a few weeks later. Anything to keep myself busy, to not think. I sniffled, rubbing my eyes on the back of my hand. I couldn't look at him now, I just couldn't. I cried quietly, my head in my hands. Simon, Rosa, and Roger all came to sit down around us, silent. I couldn't look at Pop. I was just waiting. A bundle of nervous energy. Come on, please, Pop, say something. Anything. His voice, happy and gruff before, now sounded weak. How come they didn't? If I had known, Tiger. Eli, by the father, if I'd known Eli, I would have come back. You know that, right, hon? My head immediately snapped up and I grabbed his shaking hands. Oh, Pop, I know you would have. I've been okay. I've had Simon and Rosa and Roger, and I've been getting by. I knew you were busy. They told Simon that they couldn't pull you. It was too important. I know that if you could have, you would have been here in a heartbeat, Pops. I sniffled, trying in vain to stop the tears. Then I saw something I had never seen before. My grandfather, Colonel Michael Carter Bishop, break down and cry. It was something that I never wanted to see. Tears were pouring out of his eyes, and his cries were just... I felt myself break down, and we hugged each other. The others soon were crying and hugging us as well as we mourned our friend, our companion. A father and a son. One that was dearly missed and always would leave a hole in our hearts. It was later that night when Pop and I were walking slowly back to Greenvale. Our tears were long gone, bellies full with cake and sweet treats. It had been a quiet, somber affair after I broke the news, and now we were walking in the dark, the lights of the city in the distance. I sneaked a sideways glance at Pop. His face had had a permanent frown ever since earlier, and I wondered what he was thinking. I had told him pretty much everything. We had no home left. The demons had come and raised it while I was in the hospital. What little that had been salvaged and returned to me by the hazmat team I had kept and treasured. I told him about Greenvale, about Marie Laveau, about trials and my being there. With difficulty, I had mentioned my mother and our problems. I didn't dare tell him about earlier today. He had barely allowed me to return to Greenvale on the many conditions that I had agreed to, one of which that he would meet everyone there tonight. I didn't tell him about Dim or the possible date. I didn't feel Pop needed any more revelations tonight. Plus, I wasn't too sure what to think about it myself. We weren't even friends, we were just roommates. Something that I am sure Pops would just be thrilled with once he found out. Oh yeah. Hey, Tiger. He trailed off and I snapped out of my train of thought. Yeah, Pops? I looked up at him. Even if I was taller than I had been when I was 14, he was still a good 2-3 inches taller. His face appeared thoughtful under the stars. We'll be okay. You know that, right? His mouth twisted, possibly due to nerves, and he met my eyes. I smiled slightly and hugged him sideways. His arm wrapped around my shoulders, and we walked the rest of the way to Greenvale. Yeah, I know. We'll be just fine. And we would be. We were the Bishops, a tough, tight-knit family unit. I wasn't alone anymore. Pop would always have my back. I could always count on Simon to be there for me in a pinch, unless it was to give me more paperwork or leave me stranded on a trigger warning suicide bridge. Rosa would always be there with her delectable cakes and warm hugs. And Roger had never once let me down with his stoic wisdom. They would always be there for me, and I would always be there for them. Ooh, okay, so that took nearly an hour. Oh dear, sorry. Yeah, so that is that. Painful confessions. I noticed some things in that chapter that now that I'm kind of going through and wanting to, like, I'm actively making editing plans and stuff, I'm seeing a few things that aren't going to make it, particularly with the fight between Mom and whatnot, you know, but all in all, I really did enjoy this chapter because, well, Michael's back, and honestly, just the dialogue and the character development, I really liked that. Actually, I kind of forgot about, especially about Rosa in the bedroom and all that. Like, that was really, really sweet, and I really, really liked that. Nice, lovely, warm fuzzies, and the ending I felt like was really good. So yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say than that. Sorry for a longer episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I guess let me know your thoughts if you want to. I don't know. You don't have to. Happy Tuesday. And hopefully that blanket is done. I highly doubt it, but it'll be done this week, so it's the last time you're gonna see it. I'll try to remember to post a photo of it when I get it done. Yeah. I will see you next week for chapter 14, going on. So, yeah. Alrighty, I want to say good night. Meanwhile, it is 12:18 for me, but hopefully it'll be, well, actually, I don't know when y'all are going to watch this, so I guess happy time zones, y'all. Bye.